Arc?
Yep.
How are you liking it?
I really like it. It's really fun. I was mainly a Corsair before this,
Mm-hmm.
so it's nice to have like a lot more mobility and being able to like do a lot more damage and mopping a little bit better.
So
So I'm
everything's
liking
better,
it.
is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, yeah,
More reliable iframe, I guess.
yeah, definitely. Because I only had that one, and it was on like a 3 minute cooldown, I think.
Yeah,
Might be
they're
a little
getting
bit
another
longer.
one. Corsair's getting another one now, but
Oh, really?
yeah, the I don't know the name, like the red fifth job skill.
Death Trigger.
The other one, the one that
Okay,
like
the red
trigger
one.
the one that targets them all.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think that one's
Uh,
that one's getting an iframe on it.
oh wow, man, that'd be sick. I have my the arcane weapon from compensation on it,
Oh
so
yeah,
I kind of just use it as a boss mule.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, that's good to know. A little bit more
Yeah,
viability there for the slightly harder bosses as well. Yeah, having only
yeah, for
one
sure.
iframe on a 3 minute cooldown and it's also like one of your bigger burst skills is not a good combo.
Yeah,
It's kind of what Buccaneer
was
had
not a
as
good
well,
time.
right? That's why Buck got another iframe as well.
Okay, I actually never really played a bug, so I'm not too sure with their kit.
You've got like that big meltdown thing where you like transform, and then you can throw
Right, right.
those big balls, and they heavily like when you hit things with it, they heavily increase the your turn meters. Like for mobbing, you use it to get a lot of the energy back, so you can keep cycling with Lord of the Deep. But also while you
Okay.
fire a ball, then you're immune to damage also for a little bit. But
Oh, okay.
yeah, so that's also your burst and
Nice.
also your iframes and also your recharge mechanics. So that's all like all in one. So for bossing, that also made it a little bit. When that shit's down, your survivability is immediately pretty hampered.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's why they got that extra iframe in the in the fourth V. Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, any okay, let's see. Last time we talked to someone about Arc. Do you know that you can hold down Creeping Terror?
That's the let me see. Yeah, wait. Sorry.
The third job
I
with
don't remember this was by name.
the iframe,
I'm trying
the
to remember.
third job one where you
Yeah,
go
yeah,
like
right, right.
underground. Yeah.
Yes. Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. I
Because
know about that
that
one.
surprised some people. I didn't know that was.
Yeah, no.
And your spell bullets and everything is on automatic.
Yep, got that on automatic and Vengeful Hate too.
Yeah. Okay. Right then. No. And you know you can fly.
Yeah, like when you're on Spectre mode, you have to like hold down and jump, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I
Okay.
found that out by accident because I was trying to just down jump from ledges, and then I was
Yep.
like, "Why am I
I think
floating?"
that's how everyone. That's how everyone finds out the first time, and is like, oh wait, you can purposely do this. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so no great surprises there. That's good. So what are
Yeah.
what do you do like on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, and what are you trying to be able to do in the future with this character?
So I'd like to be able to solo Lotus and Damien. I haven't really attempted it yet.
Mm-hmm.
I cleared Lotus in a party with my guild. I haven't done Damien yet just because I haven't finished the quest. I can clear all of CRA by myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been doing that. I do like to grind and like use totems, but I'm not the biggest fan of doing dailies.
Mm-hmm.
Just I feel like I have to do it, so it kind of burns me out a little bit. So I'll sometimes just do them maybe 3 or 4 times a week instead of doing them every single day.
Mm-hmm.
But I usually try to pop totems because I find it the most enjoyable to just grind away, to be honest.
Okay.
But yeah, I'd like to be able to eventually start doing Lotus and Damien solo.
And have you done the in-between bosses between like CRA and the Lotus-Damien?
Which would they'll be like I guess like Hard Magnus. And,
Yep.
I haven't done CPAP, but I've done Hard Magnus, and I've done.
Yep. Hard Magnus, CPAP, Akachi. Those are like the in-betweens, I would say.
Gotcha. I have to do the quest for Akechi still.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you have
can do
to
Princess
fall
No
asleep on
solo.
your keyboard and hold down the NPC chat button. I gotcha.
Yeah.
I think CPAP is a good test of like positioning.
Yeah.
If you get better at that, then stuff like Lotus and Damien will be an absolute joke. Because when it comes to positioning for something like CPAP, it's way more important and way harder to do properly. So if you can do it properly
Right.
there, then going back to those other bosses is just going to be a cakewalk.
Yeah. I think I have the damage for it because I have like pretty high IED.
Mm-hmm.
My boss damage is pretty high.
Yep.
Or like the combination of that with damage. And so I feel like damage is there. It's just my positioning and mechanics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you've done Lotus and Damien already. So what were your or at least Lotus you've cleared. Have you cleared Damien as well?
Yeah. No, not yet. I still have to do the pre-quests.
Okay. Yeah, Damien was is way shorter prequest, so wouldn't be as much of a
Yeah.
of a hassle.
Yeah, that. Oh my God, the Lotus one. I was struggling through that.
Yeah, it takes a bit.
Yeah.
So what? Yeah. So when with Lotus, do you remember your experience with that run? Like, what did you run into?
I think I died like twice.
Mm-hmm.
I probably got like stunned randomly. I don't even. I think it was in the first room I died.
Mm-hmm. Do you know about the dashing through the laser?
I was trying to practice that on a practice mode because I heard you talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know. I didn't know how to do it. I was dying every time I was trying to dash through it.
Okay. Well, I'll pop in game real quick. I'm here anyway.
Okay.
So you can do it with both, but obviously the range of the Flora dash is shorter than the one of the Spectre one, right? So for Spectre it's a little bit easier. But you want to do it when you jump, so not from the ground. That still hits you.
Oh, okay.
So you wait until it's like perfectly vertical, ideally, and then just boom, like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know you had to jump. I was doing it off the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, I see. I just saw on your stream. Cool.
And
Wow,
because
that'll
it
be
is
way easier now.
such a low cooldown, you can hop around just like that, and everyone else is like struggling to, for locations.
I'm gonna be playing on easy mode now.
Yeah, so that saves a lot of effort for bottom. You could just stay on the bottom the whole time, right? So that makes it a lot easier. Oh, actually got stunned. Yeah, so it's the jump part. Yeah, if you do it from the ground, then you'll still get hit. I don't know why that's different personally, but that's just how it works. So,
Okay. That's good to know, though. Thanks.
Yeah, and then anything else for the phase 2 and 3 that you're worrying about? You've got the hyper
I
skill.
pretty much only had that one run, and I was getting carried pretty hard, so I wasn't really.
Right, so it's pretty fast.
I was just kind of just trying to hit it, and just before it even died, like it was a pretty quick run.
Okay.
Yeah.
Try to get a single hit in and be like, oh, okay, looting.
Yeah. Like I'm doing something at least. Like.
I'm helping. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the main thing for R comes in that if you're going to be the one solo running, the most important thing is your setup for your bursts, because there's just so much that you have to prep, and you want to have all of it ready. So you want to pop the infinity spell that that's the longest duration, right? You pop that one, and you pop the ones that last a minute. So like depending on the level, you probably don't have room for conversion overdrive yet, right?
No, I don't have. I'm not even sure what skill that is, to be honest.
It's like the blue thing.
Oh, actually, I have it for some reason. Okay.
This one. Yeah, it's like a multi-use for both mobbing and bossing, but it does come into play only a little bit later. But basically, when it's max, it's 50% damage. When you're for your bursts, and for your mobbing, it like sometimes triggers around the map and creates explosions and kills monsters. So it's like something you cycle into if you wanna, when the other skills are down. If you're in Flora and your spell bullets are down, then you can use this one instead to empower your Flora state a little bit for mobbing. And then for bossing, you would use it as one of your skills to prep for burst. But it has at least on max, it has a minute duration. I don't know if that duration goes up. Is yours?
Okay.
What's your duration if you have it?
My duration's at 31 seconds.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. See, so it gains 1 level per second. But even so at 30 seconds, you wouldn't pop it immediately. But by the time you get there, you'd have way more room. So the spell bullets. I see you don't have the spell bullets active in your matrix right now. There is kind of a curve on it becoming more efficient, but when it comes to mobbing, so when you're training, do you cycle through like on and off Spectre and Flora, or do you do like few rotations in Spectre until it starts flashing, and then a few in Flora until it's filled up again, and then a few in Spectre, like that?
I'll try to do like a mix of Flora and Spectral while I'm clearing a map.
Yeah.
So like the gauges will go down, but then somehow it'll always end up going down, and I'll just like try to figure out like a Flora rotation for a bit to get it up.
Yeah.
But I'm usually trying to just cycle between both for map clears.
Yeah, because then your Devious Nightmare and Devious Dream hits double, right?
Yeah.
Because of the separate cooldown. Yeah, the the trick that I use, because eventually it goes down when I'm training, is that when you're in Abyssal and you still have the Abyssal buff, that you don't use up the Abyssal buff, but you use that time to still keep cycling.
Yeah.
So that you during that time then you passively regen, which kind of sucks a little bit because you're not using the free Spectre. But I mean, eventually you're gonna have to pause anyway, you know, and you have to do a few rotations. So what I did before, and I don't know, kind of depends on where you train, because back when I trained, it was in different areas because of Kishin being different, so the maps had different value. But what I would do is I would do like either full Spectre for a while and then use no enhancers, and then do Flora for a while, and then during Flora use the enhancer. So use things like spell bullets that would make it so that more spell bullets fly around. Yeah, so spell bullets does get better when you level it up quite a bit. I guess I could show you if you... so it creates extra spell bullets that fly around, or extra impending death things. I don't know what the names are exactly. And up until the max level, like 25 in a level 5 slot, all the way up to level 30. At level 30, it creates another extra one. So that's what makes it... yeah, so when it comes to like... Once your boost nodes are at the right level and you want to scale up harder for like better bursts and everything, then spell bullets is your number one, because the duration also goes up, so it lasts longer and everything. So like if you're in regular Spectre mode, right, and you're just like hopping around through the map, even just using the basic one, you see that there's not too many spell bullets flying around, and it's not really useful, and they have pretty short range. And then if I put spell bullets on right now and I attack one time, like there's just so many of them just flying all around.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You see, there's so many of them that they can't even like. They don't even have targets to go to. And, and the main thing is also like for Arc scaling is that the further you go, the stronger those little bullets get. And when those bullets are able to two-shot or you know, God forbid, one-shot, that's when your map clear gets really, really good. Because then you're just focusing on dashing through the map, and then everything you leave behind you is just eventually dying, because those little balls will just be floating around to whatever they can find nearby and kill it. So that's the thing that you eventually aim towards. But I can see that, I could kind of see that right now the spell bullets wouldn't be as impactful if you're doing a rotation, if you're alternating between the two. I imagine you're using the beast just to kill like elite monsters or something when they're on the map, just to chunk through those.
I also use it as a timer to loot.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Perfect 2 minutes.
But I'll use Infinity Spell when I'm like more bossing.
Yep.
And then when I'm mobbing, I'll just keep the beast on just so I have that timer.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And then, and the boost's in there. And then all of the decent skills are pretty good for you, right? Decent speed infusion, decent sharp eyes are both useful. Yep. I feel
like I don't really need sharp eyes too much, because I pretty much have 100% crit rate all the time. I would only need it for the crit damage.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I pretty much just hop in between decent symbol, holy symbol, and speed infusion.
Yeah, you have the event buff now too, right? So that gives a bunch of crit. And we get the 20 crit. Basically what it allows you to do later on as well is either not need any kind of crit rate in your hyper stats, or not need any crit rate in your link skills, because right now you have the Phantom Instinct there as well. So once you have enough room in your matrix, that allows you to just completely divest from Phantom Instinct and just get another damaging link in there for both mobbing and bossing.
Okay.
Even when the event is gone, yeah. Because the 20 from Scarlet plus the 10, that's already like 30% free. Plus the base kit gets you very high crit rate, so that allows you to push a little bit harder on all the other things that have sources in common with the crit rate that you can instead use them for. Okay. Yeah, I guess we kind of rolled into the Matrix, but I guess other than that, specifically for the Matrix, the great thing about the Arcane, about that your burst keeps growing, is because you keep getting so many skills that can pile on, right? So like once the Infinity Spell, like that one comes in, that one makes your burst way better, and then the Grandest Goddess Blessing makes your burst way better. The Overdrive helps, the Conversion Overdrive helps, the True Reckoner Reflection is going to boost it, and all of that is just going to pile on to an already good burst that you have. And that's just going to make your burst damage so crazy. But that's why it's very important to make sure that you set up a lot of things in advance, like, you know, spell bullets, things I talked about, right? The longer buffs, and even the beast. And then as soon as the boss is like near the beast, then you bind it, and then you immediately start with I keep forgetting the name. What is it? Unstoppable? No, Endless Agony. That one. It's just, the cringy.
The held down one.
Yeah. And you hold it down, and then hope if you see something falling above your head, you just let go, and then immediately pop Abyssal after. And because there's still that glitch that if you get hit by something that stuns you, right as you go into Abyssal, it's possible that it still stuns you out of your skill, and then your skill goes on cooldown, but doesn't go off and doesn't do any damage.
I feel like that's happened to me once at Seavel, but I'm not too sure.
Yeah, rocks at Seavel can do that. The big debris at normal Lotus, or any debris at hard Lotus, can do that. So that's something to be careful about, especially if you're holding down, you're like a prime target. So either you just keep holding down and wait until it hits you, but of course during a bind you want to do as much damage as possible to not get and we do have a quite short window because our bind doesn't last forever, definitely not. So
yeah, so when I do my burst, I'll usually drop Beast, bind, and then I'll do Abyssal Recall first, and then Endless Agony, just because I feel like there's
so you have a little bit of iframe at the end.
Yeah, and then I have that little bit of iframe to start up Endless Agony. Like, is that like the optimal way to do it? Or
yeah, you could do that as well. And it's also a long cooldown skill, so the sooner you use it, the sooner the cooldown can start coming back. So if you have it on cooldown, then you can do it the other way around as well. Yeah, true. The reason I usually do it that way is once you have everything maxed, Overdrive has a cooldown that synchronizes quite well, like Overdrive and Terms and Conditions, the Angelic Busterling skill, and your Endless Agony kind of synchronize all together. And if you use that one in the beginning, once you have Infinity Spell maxed, and then you throw the other stuff out, then you'll be able to use another combo of those three with the Infinity Spell buff still active, without a bind, of course, so it's a little bit more of a gamble. But like near the end of the Infinity Spell, you'll be able to use another one, which is another big chunk of damage.
Okay.
So that's why I usually start with it. But until all of that stuff is maxed, the other way around is probably a little bit more efficient. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
That's also why some people use like cooldown skip for like the Hail Mary to be able to do like two of those. But it's barely works. So it's really YOLO.
A little bit of RNG in there.
Yeah, it's pretty all or nothing. So.
Yeah.
But I guess you're stuck with your invulnerability for quite a while.
Yeah, I like this invulnerability because I feel like I do enough damage that I don't really need like a boss one or a boss damage.
For some reason, I agree with that.
Yeah, like I'm like one-shotting mobs too right now. So.
Yeah, I mean, I soloed hard Lucid with this invulnerability, so I think I'm good too.
Oh, nice.
It's pretty much it's pretty much the same as yours. So.
Nice. Oh yeah, you still have. Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah, you can. So that's how long you can keep it, as long as all your other stuff is up to speed.
Cool.
Yeah.
Forever then. I like that.
Yeah. I was gonna keep it at 275, and then but then the level kept going up, so I was like, well, I guess we're keeping it until 300.
Yeah.
And then that by the time I get anywhere close to that, the level cap's gonna go up again, and I'll keep it again. I guess. Well, the thing we were talking about, the thing we were hoping for, is some kind of invulnerability presets that you can just like lock in your current one, and then roll another one for damage, and then you can switch
that'd
between
be great.
Yeah, especially with how long the game's been going. Like, because look, I've been sitting on max honor experience for so long. Like, I can't use it on anything. Feels, I could spend dojo points to transfer it over like 5k at a time, like, or 10k. Yeah, it's not really that losing all that value, right? Yeah, but the other stats look solid. We have really solid stats. Not quite sure when the reboot passive is going to change, but that's going to take a lot of bonus damage away, which for us is fine because we have a lot of damage bonus and boss damage. Really, like I said, like the conversion overdrive is another 50% damage. Once you get into a higher level, familiars, big boost potions, guild skills, like you're looking at like 800, 900, depending on your WSE, maybe over 1,000% damage in total. So if you lose the damage bonus from the reboot passive, that's not that big of a deal, right? Because it's a huge block, so the diminishing returns there are real. And if we get 65% or however high you would be, I think you would be at 60 or at 55 or something, final damage instead. That's obviously for Arc, that's going to be a huge positive effect. So
cool.
Basically, we've been underperforming this whole time, comparatively, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, holy shit, this class is going to be super busted.
Yeah. No, really balanced. Doesn't need any work.
Yeah, true. Yeah, for sure. No nerfs, please.
Yeah. Okay, but so yeah, before we move off of the matrix, I guess, do you have any questions regarding that for the boost nodes and priorities? Are you working on the nodes in the shop?
Yeah, I bought all the nodes. I'm still waiting to get to the 15,000
Yep,
threshold
the
to buy the
Hertu.
next ones, but
Yep.
I was thinking of getting an event ring first and then getting the nodes because I think I have perfect tries. Like no, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I do. And then I have like the one extra one for mobbing, which is unstoppable and scarlet charge.
Yeah, do you have one of
But
those?
I have
Yeah.
two perfect trios.
Which one did you not fully level with this setup?
I'm sorry, what was that?
With the 5, there's one that you only level once, right?
Yeah, that's unstoppable and scarlet charge are the only ones boosted once. Everything else is boosted twice.
Um.
And then basic charge is boosted 3 times.
Basic is 3 times, right? There.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, so eventually that can go down to 2, and then you can do Scarlet or Impulse one more time. But yeah, those are both mainly moving skills. I found that if you animation cancel in your burst, you know how that whole thing works with the Battle Frenzy and stuff?
Yeah, you get like extra damage, I believe.
Yeah. So if you do want to use that in like the late game, then it would, I guess, technically be a little bit better to have the Scarlet boosted. But if you are mainly mobbing and dashing around, then you want to make sure that your Unstoppable Impulse is killing. So eventually, I think people just throw in another boost node just to have everything maxed.
Okay.
Because based on how good your animation canceling is, eventually you'll also have people just throwing in the Unstoppable Impulse also as one of the animating, like as the animation cancel skill. So because you can also use that one when you're stationary, right?
Right.
So I don't.
Okay.
I haven't really tested like all of the DPS to see like how what you want to use, but people do crazy stuff like that. In KMS it looks way better because of how their attack speed works, but it almost sometimes looks like they're doing like 3 attacks at once or something. It's pretty scary.
Wow.
But yeah, I do try to use that when you're stationary. Specifically if the boss is in a corner, then it's like very low risk, then I would try to use it. But yeah, I'll always try to build up the stacks in Flora, because there the mobility is less, let's say, volatile.
Yeah.
A little bit more controllable,
so
less chance of dashing into clear and certain death.
Yeah, that exactly.
Yeah.
What happened?
Like once you get to Will and there's webs on the side, you're like, I don't know if I want to risk this.
Yeah.
So then you try to use the Flora form to get your Battle Frenzy stacks up. And then once those are up, then it's pretty reliable. But until then, yeah. I don't know what your ping is at.
I don't really know what it is either, but I can usually combo pretty well.
Okay.
I'll just have like some flip outs here and there.
Yeah. Good thing you're not a blaster, because if you do like a non-perfect combo, you'd like yeet yourself off the Lucid platform, you completely lose your chances of killing it. So okay, but other than that, all the matrix makes sense, like the general order to work on skills and such.
Yep, I've just been really trying to focus on boosting my nodes right now, and that's since I got all the perfect trios, well, 2 perfect trios, and then you just told me about boosting the mobility skills again. But yeah, no, I feel pretty good with it. Yeah,
Infinity Spell is big, and then the Grandest Goddess Blessing is also really big. The better your weapon is, the bigger that scales as well. So both Overdrive, your attack passive, and your Goddess Blessing all scale off the base attack of your weapon, which is why Arc really likes the Arcane weapon.
Okay. Oh wow, it's busted.
Yeah, Goddess Blessing maxed is 100 attack for 40 seconds plus 150% of your weapon's base attack. So the Arcane weapon is 221. So 150% of that plus 100, so you're getting 430 weapon attack for 40 seconds.
Holy.
Which is kind of broken.
It's
like you're wearing 2 weapons. Yeah. So,
sick.
Add that to your already existing burst, and then throw in an overdrive, conversion overdrive, and extra bullets from everything, and you're looking at some juicy burst. Then add an ROR4, maybe maybe the Mugong Soul, like add all of that together, and it's quite disgusting.
Nice.
But of course, then when everything is down and you're in Flora without Spectre, your damage is absolute dookie. So
Yeah.
there's a contrast there. And that's the thing,
Yeah.
once you start bossing more, you'll... so you have your 2-minute interval for bursting and then the 4-minute interval for bursting, right? And you want to make sure that once you're like halfway towards the next interval, that you if you don't have any Spectra, that you just go into Flora and just stay in Flora. And it'll feel like you're a little bit useless, but it's necessary. Because the worst thing, and it's going to happen quite a bit, especially in the beginning, if you're doing a new boss, new mechanics, and also trying to manage your Spectra at the same time, you're going to be like, okay, I'm ready, guys. I'm binding in 10 seconds. You're like, okay, I've got everything set up. It's like bursting, and then while you're holding down your first skill, your screen already starts flashing. You're like, oh god. So like that's gonna happen, and it's just a matter of experience of figuring out like, okay, now I need to start switching and looking at your cooldowns. Right, as soon as you see your beast. As soon as you see it going under a minute, you see it going like 59, 58, then you want to check your Spectra and see like, okay, can I be in Spectra form a little bit more, or do I need to switch? Because also we like Spectra form to not be knocked around, right, with the passive.
Yeah.
So in some bosses, it might be necessary to, dance around in Flora instead to make sure that you keep the Spectra for the charge, but it'll depend on how quickly your party goes, and there'll be a learning curve there that's within the boss mechanics already on top of it that other players might not have and that you have to deal with. But that's the downside, and the upside is that you get crazy burst, but of course the downside is that you have to sacrifice damage in the DPM department, and it's a little bit extra difficult to synchronize everything. But
Right.
Just like the burst.
Yeah, that's a good tip.
Yeah.
Because I would definitely like run out of Spectra because I would just sit there and spam. What's it called?
Just basic charge.
I'm just nightmare. Yeah, I would just spam it, and just because I would do so much damage with it. I had it so boosted. And then I get a floor, and I'm like, what? Like it would like upset me because I'm like, I'm doing nothing now. Like
yeah, you're losing the lines. Yeah, you start like animation canceling and floor out of desperation. That's when
yeah.
That's when you know you hit rock bottom. Yeah. And it'll happen a few times, but everyone else is trying to find their footing as well, making sure that they're combining all their bursts together and maybe forgetting some skills. So the harder the bosses get, the more. But I think the better it feels afterwards when you're feeling more on top and like you know what you're doing, and it doesn't. The desyncs don't happen. But but the beast is nice to have a little bit extra on a 2-minute burst. Otherwise, our 2-minute burst was kind of
Yeah.
It was not great. Yeah. Okay. So Matrix is all good. How is so the main? What is the situation of your account? Like, is this your highest character? You have the Corsair, and then everything else is just Link skills, and that's it. And Legion.
Yeah, I have like a few 200s. I love the 210 like Link skills. I got the 2 demon characters up there.
Yeah, very solid.
I got the Delta 200. I got a Kane 200 just because like it was like I got the Kane 200 on the last day of the event, so I was just trying to rush it. The Corsair's at 220, and then this is my highest character.
Okay.
And I just been trying to like going off a little bit off that what's it called? Your link in the chat for Link skills, like what you should be like focusing. So I've been kind of working on that. For Legion stuff.
You made you have a beast saber. You made the 0 as well.
Yeah, I haven't worked on the 0 though.
Yeah, as long as you have it, it's fine.
Yeah, the character is made.
Good.
And then I recently burned the jet.
And
I got that to 200.
Nice crit damage. The other crit damages are up and coming as well, like the Hayato Shade. Oh yeah, I see Hayato here.
Yeah, I haven't made the Shade yet.
Okay. Yeah, because we have all the other numbers are already so good. Like crit damage is the one where there's also still the only one where there's really like noticeable improvement that we can make, because everything else is already so high.
Word.
Like crit rate is high, boss damage high, IED high. So I guess we work on crit damage then.
Yeah.
I guess once you get that crit damage in your gloves and such, that's when it starts really picking up. But so like the Legion board. Think about it. So the Legion board can give you 20%, and then the 3, if you get those 3 dudes at 200, that's 15%, and then the Kinesis Link skill. So all of that together is 39%. on top of the,
Oh, that's nice.
and then the hyper stats. So like very little is actually coming from the character itself. It's a lot of it is just coming from external sources. That's why the Legion and the Lynx are so crazy. But they mainly come into play for adding bossing damage, of course. Like you said, with mobbing, you're already doing well. Like the only thing you're going to do once it expands is just more and more critical damage. And then when you're bossing, moving more pieces from the middle away and then into the boss damage in the outside. Possibly also into IED. Do you have a line of IED on your WSE somewhere?
Yeah, I actually have 2 lines on my secondary of 35 and 30.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I thought, because you're that
My
high,
familiars are also really, but I have this one comment. You'll see it. It's
yeah, the
disgusting.
chandelier.
It's just, yeah, it's absolutely disgusting.
That is so rare. Yeah, the one in a million.
I went so dry on getting. I think I went almost 200 familiars, no line of ID, and then I got that. I was like, I guess I just gotta pay back.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
Definitely worth, I would say. Yeah, so yeah, if you keep the secondary, that just means for a while, that means that, you know, all the other IED is not really useful. And then once the link skill come in, once you have a lot of room in your Legion and you're like not really anything useful to put it in, and you can put that in IED. And then once you get the Superior Golux set complete, at that point it's like there's so much IED in the kit, and with everything, with the buffs, you know, with the extra 40%, well, 2 lines of 20% plus 20% on the boost nodes, plus the Explorer mages, like all of that, and even the passive that we have, the hyper skill passive, all of that extra IED, then you could just completely move away from all IED in your WSE, and none of that is necessary.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, so if either the Legion isn't completely there or the Superior Golux set isn't completely there, you could technically also already move out and just go to 1 line. That would probably still be with the secondary, but the most likely what you're going to do, like the progression with the secondary, is most likely to just go for a Princess no secondary and slowly start working on that on the side. And then once you get something useful on there, then you just phase this one out, right?
Okay. Actually, I actually got one. Like, I was going to try to upload the picture, but for some reason it wasn't letting me.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I got a Princess no. I got it up to unique, and I rolled 9% attack and a 6% damage. So I'm gonna start using that for farming, and then I'll have the other one for bossing.
Yep. It sounds like a plan. Sounds like a good plan. All right, to make sure that we're not going too much all over the place. So we were talking about Legion and Lynx. Do you have any questions regarding that?
No, I feel pretty good. I've been kind of just going off of your like your Lynx command in the chat, just to see what I should prioritize and stuff. So I think I have a pretty good idea of what I should be working on with that. Okay, cool.
Yeah, just make sure you keep enough coins for the next upgrade. That's always a little difficult in this stage, right? Like, how much do you spend on actually grinding, and then how much do you save up for the next rank up?
Yeah, because I keep spending it on the meso things, the meso buffs.
That is tempting, yeah. Do you have meso of Tana and drop rate in your equips?
I used to have it on my Connor ring. So I have 3 lines of item drop. So I'm always getting meso bags. I had the mesos on my Kana, and I was trying to re-roll it to get either 2 lines of meso or a meso and a item drop rate. But like it ended up rolling into a 30% strength. So I think I'm just gonna keep that instead.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea.
Yeah. So right now I don't have any meso line. Just in the inner ability.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's why the need for using the coupons is also a bit stronger, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's an early mosquito daily. Okay. So yeah, the reason I'm talking about that already is like the value of training and the value of grinding and stuff. If that's what you like, you want to increase that value by hoping to keep like maintaining the kill speed but increasing the utility with the drop in the meso while you're training, so that you can feel that even more. And then, you know, once you get a lot stronger, then hopefully the dailies won't feel as much as a chore, because you can blow through those much faster if you're stronger as well. So that will be the goal, to keep that all tied together. Okay. Right. So arcane symbols, and then you're pretty close to the next area, right? Oh no, you just got to just got to Arcana.
Yeah, I think I'm 4 levels away. You got it at 230, right?
Arcana is 225, and then Morass is 230.
Oh. Oh, then I just haven't. I didn't even know that. I just never went to go do it then.
Yeah, it's not
I
every
just been at
10.
Latchland.
Yeah, they have an extra. They added those in between areas so that now there's an area every 5 levels. But like the big symbols are at 200, 210, 220, and then 225, 230, 235. So it's every 5
Okay,
levels after 220. So you can already go to Arcana,
gotcha.
do the pre-quest, and do Spirit Savior.
Nice.
And you've ever done Spirit Savior?
No, I've never done Spirit Savior.
Because yeah, the Corsair only got to 220, right? So that one
Yeah,
got
yeah, my arc's the highest I've ever been in this
yep.
game.
I can show Spirit Savior real quick if you haven't done it yet.
Okay.
Sometimes you'd want to turn off your spell bullets just in case. It depends on how strong you are, because you don't want them
Okay.
to like. You have to like go. You know, basically, there's little guys that are stuck between roots. You have to kill the roots and then pick them up and then take them with you and then bring them back home. The more of them you bring back, the more points you get. But there's also a monster that chases you that gets faster and stronger and bigger the more you have with you. So you get up to 5.
Okay.
So like it's high risk, high reward kind of thing. But we have really good mobility, so we actually have a very good skill set to make sure that we can do that well. But some of the monsters are kind of close together, and then if you hit one and the spell bullets hit another one, you will release like 2 of them at the same time, and the monster will transform 2 times, but you have a very limited window of actually picking them up and taking them with you. And then if you're like stuck trying to pick them up and the beast is already like chasing you because he already had his transformation time of getting stronger, that might actually hurt you in the long run. So depending on how
Okay.
strong you are, you might want to turn off the spell bullets.
Okay.
I haven't done this in forever, but it should be fine. Major tip for everyone as well is like, as soon as you go in, is to have your mouse hover over the D in world on the top left, because once you go in, the minimap is not completely expanded, so you can't actually see the whole map. And the expansion is going to be roughly around here. So use NPC chat to go in, and then click as soon as you see it, and then you can expand. So you see the little red guys are the ones that are stuck. So we can use the drive, and you can use the jumpers to go to the side. In the beginning, you'll use that a lot, just to get around a bit more. You see, I'm not winning any beauty pageants, but we have a lot of extra mobility skills that will help us get there faster.
Okay.
And you can see over your head how many you have. That indicator didn't used to be there. And you see the spirit like going through the middle, chasing you, chasing you, chasing you. So handing it in is in the bottom middle. So ideally, you just wait a little bit until he comes all the way to you. And then I jump to the side here, flash jump into the middle, and then boom, you hand in 5. And then you see you get 2.5k points. I don't know what I just pressed, but my screen did something weird. Oh, so here I do an up jump when you're jumping over the middle, and that way you can extend the momentum that you get from the side, from the jumper platform.
Okay.
But as you see, I have not done this in a long time. This is a very suboptimal run. So you get 3 runs of these a day. So if you can get 10k, so that's 4 batches of 5. If you can hand that in, then you're fine. Once you get to the point where you can skip, then you could also do like a 15k run if you can do that, and then do that twice in a day. But you can see you can do
This is
some
similar to like the latch sorry, to the latch extra daily thing where you like you get coins after this and then you buy the symbols with the coins.
Yes, yeah, it's
Okay.
exactly like that, yeah.
Okay, so the more points the better. Gotcha.
Yeah, so 10k gives you 10 coins, and then the max you can get is 30 coins per day. And then it's
Okay.
3 coins per symbol, so you can buy up to you can buy up to 10 symbols per day.
Okay.
And the regular kill quest is 8 symbols, so you can immediately, once, like if you get this one down, so there's no curve, no learning curve on this like in the tower that you have to like build up and the extra floors and get way stronger.
Yeah.
In the beginning, you won't be killing them as quickly, so you might have to like 2-hit, 3-hit. So if you're a lot weaker, what you'll usually end up doing is relying more on the platforms and like keeping more distance between you and the boss. So like you would skip this one on the top right, for example, and then go all the way here. So that'll slow it down, but that'll be way more safe. And like if he gets close here,
Gotcha.
then you just go all the way over here. And you really, really use those side jumpers on the top left and the top right, so that if the monster gets close to you, you just use it again, go all the way to the other side, and then you have plenty of room. And we can also like down jump like that. You don't like need to go down. If you can avoid down jumping on a platform and you can dash through it instead, that's probably more desirable, because down jumping is notoriously broken in Spirit Savers, so try not to rely on it too much.
Okay. Cool.
You can get double IED on a common familiar. Yeah, because it exists in both of those. It's very rare though. I've only seen like, I think this is only like the second or the third one I've ever seen, because it's really, really rare. I've never gotten
Blessed by RNG.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that should immediately start bringing in, I mean, once you get the Spirit Saver down, that can start bringing in 18 symbols a day. Again, you said you don't always like to do the dailies as much. Yeah, I don't know if that's because Lekaline had such a kind of... Lekaline is not ideal, you know, you can only get 4 from the daily kill quest, and then the tower is like a little bit of build-up as well.
Yeah, I'm only getting like 7 a day, I think, because I only got to like floor 30. When the time I was doing it, I wasn't strong enough to get to 40. I feel like maybe I could push for it now, but I'm okay with getting 7. It's not the worst.
Yeah, the best thing about the thing about the tower is that once you're in a decimal, you know, like 10, 20, 30, 40, like a multiple of 10, you're kind of just like safe, and you can just go in, clear it, go out, go in, clear it, go out, and that's whatever. And as an arc, whatever floor you're going to get to, you're always going to be able to clear that, because of how our burst is, our DPS is compared to our TPM, right? So you know that if you can climb, that you'll never be like, oh, I bit off more than I can chew, now I can't clear it. So usually what I do is I just build up points over time, and then if you have guild skills, you know, monster park potions, just any buffs that you have, but you don't want to use all your burst at the same time, right? You want to rotate between your burst, and you want to use the bell skill for the points in Dream Defender to make sure that you change the box color. Have you ever used that?
No, I haven't used any of the point stuff. I don't know what they did.
Yeah, so they're all kind of garbage except for the bell. So what the bell does is it immediately changes any of the box's color to yellow. So immediately the bar starts going the other way, and as soon as you if you kill one immediately, then you're already like 1 versus 4, and you can very quickly clear the floor that you're on. And you can gather up to 3,000 points, and a bell costs 300. So you'll have enough to use 1 on each floor. So if you have all of your buffs together, you cycle between your bursts and not use them all at the same time. And you cycle between the bells whenever it's necessary, like to help you get to the next floor. All of that combined should be able to, you know, once you have enough of an upgrade and everything, should be enough to get you to the next floor, get up to floor 40. And if you're feeling good and you didn't even have to use the bell that much, maybe you can keep pushing up to 50. And then, you know, you can just be like 50 out, and then, you know, be good. But then every single time you go to an extra 10 floors, you get an extra symbol a day.
Okay.
So yeah, significant upgrades, or you know, the hyperstats also, not the hyperstats, sorry, like the arcane symbols, the extra stat you get from that is also very useful, of course, and that's another way that without, and yeah, the dailies to an extent it just feels like chores, and I get that it's not the most fun thing, but it just constantly makes your character stronger, without barely paying for it, right? You just pay for the level up and that's it. But you're basically actively, directly improving your character. And the main thing is the arcane power makes it so that in the higher level areas you don't get this huge block of damage, final damage penalty whenever you go to the higher level monsters, but you can actually immediately start training there.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I just gotta get on it then.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's just a matter of either getting a routine or finding someone else to do it with, or maybe kind of like racing someone to arcane power, or finding something that can motivate you to do it. It is a huge time gate. Some people go to just a certain amount and then just stay there. If you want to keep it as your main and you want to future-proof, yeah, I can just never emphasize enough how important of a source of damage it is, because there's like another 10k stat that's available just from maxing out your symbols.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is for you right now. That's just doubling your stat, right?
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. Like I think on my Adele, I had more stat coming from symbols than from anything else. Like it was like a 20k stat, but you know, like I think 20k stat and 12k of that was from symbols, and then 8 was from other stuff.
I respect that grind, dude, because I wouldn't have the patience to do this on more than one character.
Yeah, yeah. I'm on my 6th character now, so it's getting a little old,
Respect.
honestly. At this point, it's
Yeah,
getting a little,
yeah.
it's getting a little much. I'm almost at 18 with the last 2 symbols now. Almost the 6th one
Oh
done
my
is like,
god.
yeah. If I'm gonna start a 7th one, I don't know how depressing that's gonna be, but we'll see.
Yeah, that sounds rough.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing I have a very good score on compared to like most other people. Most other
Hmm.
things, there's always a few people with like way more. I think when it comes to really diligently do those dailies, that's probably one of the things. But yeah,
Nice,
it does
nice.
pay off, and it helps you save a lot of money as well in the long run. Because if you get 6 extra K stat from that, that does mean that you don't need to get that anywhere else. Plus, if you're doing bosses, you're immediately getting the arcane power bonus. And it's not so much a problem for Lucid because it's a pretty low requirement. But once you want to do Will, like to do bonus damage for Will, you need 1140. And that
Okay,
is, yeah. But he's also level
that's a lot.
250, so you don't really start doing him too quickly. But that is a lot, yeah.
Okay,
But yeah, hopefully by that time your nodes are a lot better, so you don't have to rely on nodes from event shops, but you can go for the symbols instead.
symbols.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then that'll help you speed up a little bit those areas that are slowed down. I don't know if you saw the latest KMS updates, but they're also speeding up the symbols again a little bit. So
Okay,
that's also nice. Yeah,
Cool.
the Lacaline kill quest is going to go from 4 to 8 symbols reward, so that's
Ooh.
nice. And
Cool,
there's an
cool.
extra daily in Morass and Asphera for 6 extra per day
Okay.
for each. So yeah,
Cool. I'm getting the easy mode symbols then. Nice.
yeah, finally, because they've been stuck on 8 for years. I thought like, okay, every update they're gonna do like a new area and speed everything up, but somehow for Morass and Asphera, I guess they didn't think it was necessary, or they didn't want people to leave the Arcane River that quickly, so they just
Yeah.
kept us down. But yeah, it's about damn time.
Nice. Yeah, because I actually
Yeah.
bought all the Lackline symbols from
Mm-hmm.
the event shop,
Yep.
but just that one, just as I guess I've seen I've seen other of your progression sessions, and I just saw that you recommended it, so I was like, all right, yeah, I'm gonna just do it.
Yeah, Sphera and Morass is a higher priority, but then Lackline would be like right under that, just because the startup is so bad. Because you get the 4 a day, which is like the lowest of any area, and then you have to do the tower on top of that. And you're talking to the
Yeah.
NPCs afterwards, right? For the 1 extra.
Yes,
Yeah.
for the characters outside the
Mhm.
tower. Yep.
Yeah, especially if you're that low, like going from 7 to 8 is already that's already 14% more or something.
Yeah,
That speeds it up by quite a bit.
definitely.
Okay. Again, trying to get back to focus. All right. Symbols, dailies. Link skill wise, are you feeling confident about like what to use anywhere? Do you have any questions?
Um, is it better to use the 4% crit damage from Kinesis over like the Hayato skill or the Ilium skill? Because I feel like sometimes I'm just trying to figure out what would be like the most damage.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm not too sure.
Yeah, exactly. And those questions usually come in with like link skills number 10, 11, and 12, and 13, and 14, and 15. Like which one is exactly number 10 and which one is number 14, right?
Yeah.
The short answer is that they're probably so close that it doesn't really matter all that much.
Okay.
Part of that answer is also in the beginning when your sources of damage are fluctuating so much, it's perfectly possible that one thing is technically better for you, and then you roll a different potential on your emblem, and now the other one is actually better because the balance is thrown off.
Okay.
So usually I don't worry about it too much. If you have 100% crit rate, I would probably use the critical damage over the keen edge, I think.
Okay.
And because Keen Edge also gets outrolled by Jet later, right? If you get a good good roll on that, if you want to, of course. It's not super necessary because we have plenty of link skills that we can use as an arc.
Cool. Yeah. Honestly, I just ignored the Jet skill. I heard it's like some like you have to re-roll or something like that, so I just didn't even bother.
Yeah, you basically scroll it until you get the potential that you want, and then you can lock it in, and then it stays like that for however long you lock it.
Okay.
And you can lock it up to a year, and then you just extend it whenever you feel like it. If you want to keep it,
Okay.
or you let it expire
you
and then roll another one.
How do you even roll it?
So there's some items in the cash shop. I actually explained this yesterday. If you go into cash shop and you look up, you search for the word dust, you'll find 3 items, and those are the 3 items you need to use to be able to work on the link skill. So use the middle one to tier up and to reroll. That's just 1 item for that. And you can use the one on the right, the shifter, if you have the right if you have the right configuration, but not in the right location. So it's like a hexagon of stats, and they're in a predetermined order. But if you have the stats that you want are, for example, like right next to each other, and you have a good roll where there's good 2 high peaks and they're also right next to each other, but they're not in the right location, you can use the shifter to rotate the stats to match the outside where the stats are, basically.
Okay.
So that's a little bit pricey, but it's still way cheaper than having to re-roll the whole thing again. Because it's typically like a bill and a half to roll what you want and to lock it in place for like 6 months or so.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then the one on the one on the left is the solidifier, so that solidifies the potential and locks it in place for 30 minutes, 30 days per cube. So yeah, you can read it. It goes up to 365, but if you let it expire, it just will randomly re-roll within the tier that it was. But if you ever go back and you want to extend it, then you can do that.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I'll probably maybe working down the future.
Yeah, at some point it might be pretty nice. You can get up to 35 stat and up to 35 weapon attack. So with, you know, including the scaling of the percentages, that can end up actually being quite nice.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I would use Tide of Battle when you're mobbing. I would never use it when you're bossing because it's just not reliable.
Okay. Yeah, I would use it during bossing.
Yeah. Then you can, you know, Terms and Condition, Fury Unleashed, Lightwash, like all of those guys start coming in. And
okay.
Yeah, the more bursty you get, the more you start focusing on the heavy burst skills. And then once you get to the point where you know that you're for sure killing, then you might even move away a little bit from the burst skills and instead move more into survivability ones to make sure that you know, make it to the end and that no shenanigans can rain on your parade.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Okay, that's all good, well and good for link skills.
Yep, everything's good for me.
Yep, all right, cool. Any questions on the hyper skills? I see that you have them.
No, I think I'm feel pretty good with them.
Yeah, I think you have everything that I have too. Yeah, technically between guard break and boss rush arts, you would pick whichever one skills better for you, but given you're a secondary, you probably want the boss one over the ID at this point.
Yeah.
And with all the
I think I'm good on ID for a while.
Yeah, eventually you stick to the boss anyway, so this is fine. Cool. Secondary wise, that's really nice. There's not much more than you can do than having drop rate. Does drop rate and item drop rate, meso drop rate, meso obtain, does that all make sense to you, how that all works?
Would you mind explaining it to me one more time, actually? Because I've seen you explain it before, but I just...
Yeah, so there's like...
don't quite remember.
Yeah, sure, no problem. There's 3 main terms, right? There's meso obtain, meso drop rate, and item drop rate. Those are like the 3 terms. So meso obtain is if you get a bag and you loot it, how much money is in it. Meso drop rate is what is the chance that a bag drops when you kill a monster, and then item drop rate is what is the chance that an item drops when you kill a monster. And then item drop rate usually includes meso drop rate because a meso bag is an item that drops from a monster. But there's one exception, and that's for the lines of familiars specifically where they are split. So if something says item drop rate on a familiar, then that is item drop rate excluding meso drop rate, because they also have some specific meso drop rate lines. So if you are not reaching enough item drop rate outside of your familiar, which is the number there that you want is 67%, if you're not hitting that much without the familiar to guarantee the chance of 100% getting a meso bag to drop, then meso drop rate on a familiar will still help and will still stack and will still just give you money. If you have more than that, then meso drop rate on familiars doesn't really help you much anymore.
Gotcha. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So meso obtain stacks up until I think a total of 300%, so plus 200%, and 100% of that can come from your equips. Item drop rate has no cap for GMS apparently, and can only be up to 200% from equips, so up to 10 lines. And you know, inner abilities help with all that stuff, and holy symbol. And so that's kind of how that all interacts. Does it all make sense?
Yeah. Okay. Now I get it. Yeah.
Yep.
Because I didn't know there was the meso obtain and like also with meso drop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if you
Gotcha.
have enough drop rate, then the Thanatos will just, basically do... Yeah, and the exact numbers, I put it under exclamation mark drop rate, so you can see what percentages are... that is drop rate, that is not drop rate. Which percentages exactly are what, so that it's easier to keep track of which line is better than which. So you have the small amount meso drop rate on a common, so that's 30%. And then the other one is item and meso drop rate by a small amount on a rare, which is this one, which is probably 20% for each. Yeah. So you're probably using the Thanatos because I'm assuming that you have enough drop rate, right? You had 3 lines?
Yeah, 3 lines and also the inner ability.
And inner and holy symbol and maybe coupons. So all of that, make sure that the bags drop. So whatever you can do that gives any kind of item drop rate is what you're prioritizing. So if you get any kind of increases item drop rate, like this one, so that would be 50%, or increases item drop rate by a large amount, like that's like eventually the one you want to get, right? That 100%. But these are like the lines to look out for, basically. Anything else is not really, or increases item and meso drop rate would be a small increase as well, or increases item and meso drop rate by a large amount. So those are the only ones that you're really looking for now, except for maybe some healing familiars.
Okay.
Other than that, there's nothing really to look for until, you get to hundreds and hundreds of cards when you're training, fusing them together, going for epic, and then looking for big chunks of IED, big chunks of boss damage, large drop rate, that kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
So until then, yeah. All right, so that's all clear too. Yeah, I mean, I don't know really what to say about this. I guess level up empathy and insight if you want to main your character, I guess.
Okay.
If you have like those trade boost potions, I would throw them like between empathy and insight. Pretty useful. Insight gives more final damage on bosses eventually, and empathy is a little bit more buff duration. And those are only leveled from harvesting flowers and veins, so those level very, very slowly. Ambition will max out, willpower will somehow eventually max out, and charm doesn't really matter past a certain point, so that was unimportant. So it's usually like the right side of the thing that's important.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, that was a small interruption. Yes, okay, so then specifically we're talking about the equips, right?
Yep, we can go to equips.
And you are currently wearing a potpourri of all the sets that exist in the game, by the looks of it.
Yeah.
A little bit of Abzo, a little bit of Frozen, a little bit of boss accessories set, a little bit of Alien Fragment, a little bit of Von Leon, a little bit of CRA, a little bit of Tyrant.
Yeah, I got
no Sweetwater equips. That would have made the whole. Oh no, wait, yeah, the Sweetwater monocle. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, there you go. A little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how are you? So WSE is at fake Abzo, and then what was it? 2-line attack emblem, and then the 2-line. Yeah, the ID here. So you're working on that. Princess Snow in the background, that's fine. The secondary, the emblem is probably fine until a lot of other stuff needs to be worked on harder. Flame on a weapon is very nice, so there's nothing to touch up on that. Wait, yeah, 17, sorry, yeah, okay. I got confused with the Arcane stuck at 15. Yeah, so that basically means the WSE is under control. If you have like backup, no, not Eternals, backup Meisters, you throw that on the other secondary maybe, right?
Yeah.
I'm guessing you don't need to rely on the damage on it right now to kill. It's just like a little extra bonus.
Yeah, it's just kind of a little extra bonus right now because I can pretty much one-shot mobs in any Latchland map.
Yep. Yeah, because Arc strong.
Yeah.
We strong. Okay.
Man, yeah. So much stronger than Corsair.
Yeah. It's a different. Although the mobbing for Corsair is pretty good, right? You have like large map attacks and stuff. All the summons.
The cooldowns are a bit long on them, But you do have all the summons, so if you're working with smaller maps, you can pretty much clear the whole thing the whole time.
Yep.
But with bigger maps, you kind of start to struggle a little bit if you don't have your fifth job skills.
Right. You have to rotate between everything to maintain perfect uptime and map clear.
Yeah, there's also one. It's called Death Trigger. It's like the one where you're standing still and you're shooting off a bunch of shots. Like that skill sometimes just doesn't go to other mobs, and it'll just bounce between like 3 or 4 mobs and then just go away.
Yeah, because they changed how it worked, right? To make it do more damage on bosses, I think. But I think it made it worse on mobbing as a result.
Yeah, like it'll sometimes glitch out and just not clear the map.
Yeah, it's supposed to like like chain through the whole map and basically ruin everything, I think.
Yeah, it's supposed to bounce off everything.
Yep. Like laser tag the whole
the
whole club. Yeah. Okay, just trying to soak in all the numbers here a little bit. So your access right now, you have full permanent CRA.
Yeah, I have full permanent CRA.
And it's all at 12 or 10, 12. Some flames. So you've reached the beauty that is legendary potential on the top.
Yeah, I got lucky on the hat. Like really lucky. Like I wasn't even trying to get it. I just threw a Meister Q on it, and then ended up rolling that strength line. So I didn't really put too much. I got that top to legendary during DMT. I put like 30 black hues on my legs, and it just did not want to rank up. So I just gonna leave that alone for a while because I just don't want to touch it anymore.
Yeah, that's fine. It's a little counterintuitive, but my general advice is to keep CRA stuff at unique if possible, because because how many junk lines are added from unique to legendary, it actually becomes almost more difficult to roll good lines on legendary than on unique, even though you would hope that it would be the other way around. So when it comes to priority of upgrading stuff, cubing wise, I would put CRA at a lower priority, but then star forcing wise, I put it at a higher priority because of how quickly you can do CRA and get backups, right? So those are, I would also always see CRA more as targets for high star force and for lower potential, and then other items where you're basically just going to 17 and then stopping forever and you're never touching anything past that. Then for those items, I would typically say like, okay, there the potential is fine to work on a little bit sooner rather than the star force, because you know the cap on how far you're going on star force is achieved pretty early anyway.
Okay.
But yeah, you're still probably building backups on CRA in full swing since you can clear that now.
Yeah.
And Abso-wise, because you did like one Lotus run, but is that something that you're going to be doing more, or are you going to try to solo instead, or are you going to solo once you have the full Abso set? Like, what's the... How did you have that?
No, I'll still run it with my guild whenever I can, whenever they offer carry. And I guess I'll just do Lotus. Whenever I can solo it, then I will solo it. But until then, I'll just, if my guild will carry me, I'll take the carry.
And are you doing the weeklies to make sure you can make the pieces?
Yeah, whenever I remember to. I try to do it on this character in my Corsair too.
Yeah, exactly. You can share them. Okay. So in general, when it comes to upgrading, like, so the big thing is like WSE, right? Getting that settled, get a lot of damage from there. Make sure that that's always helping you for mobbing and bossing. And then if you are maintaining your income from this character mainly, I would say that the next best thing that's important is to get your drop and meso set completed, which means going for 5 lines of meso, 4 lines of drop on 9 accessories and getting 9 legendary accessories to do that on. So that's would be like the stage I would say that you're in now to work on the most. And then you hope that you don't, you know, have what happens with your greed pendant and with your condensed power crystal, that you end up rolling a bunch of strength and then having to roll out of that, because that's never a fun time. But it's just gonna, you're gonna have to bite through that.
Hurt. That greed pendant hurts. I mean, I got the 3 lines of strength on my Conor ring now, so I was like, all right, I guess I can re-roll the greed pendant, and I'm not losing too much. But that one hurt.
Yeah, so the thing is so where you want your damage to come from is your WSE and then your CRA set once you have it, and then, slowly over time the Abso, but not quite yet. So what else is getting damage from is your boost nodes, the final damage there, and then your symbols and the final damage there. That's like where you want all the damage to come from. So if those things are on point, the potential and the base stats and whatever drop gear you have should not matter, and you should always have like enough kill speed and be able to go through everything. So that's it's kind of like important to make sure that you don't rely on the strength of the greed pendant and stuff like that to be able to kill, because that's not where you want your damage to be coming from. You want it to be coming from those other sources. So they should be fine to roll over. Eventually, hopefully you aim for like the nine pieces, and they all also have a line of strength with it, right? Ideally, because if all of them have 9 strength, 9 times 81% strength extra, that helps you not lose too much kill speed when you're in mobbing, and you can keep going into the drop rate set or drop meso set, whatever training set, and not just have abysmal clear speed. Right. So that's going to be important. So something like is Eternal Flame Ring still the same?
Yep, the Eternal Flame Ring is still the same.
Yeah.
The only one that changed is the Connor Ring.
Okay, yeah, cool. So this ring is amazing, right? You get the drop, and you get 2 lines of strength, and plus it's going to be one of your strongest rings right now, and eventually it becomes a drop rate ring anyway, and then you won't have to touch it anymore. So this is like perfect scenario roll, basically. Most items are not going to be this good, but that one. I got lucky on my Adele where I had a few items that rolled like drop or meso and then 2 lines of strength, and you're like, wow, this is like just perfect, because if you never have to reroll ever again. Worst case scenario is like if you roll a bunch of strength, you just make another item for the slot, right? If you end up with meso and no droppers. If you end up with meso or drop and no strength, that's fine too. Just look once you're near the end of completing your set of 9 pieces. If you end up with, like, let's say 3 meso and 6 drop, then look for the drop items that don't have strength and then reroll those to try to get meso. So that hopefully eventually most of the items also have a line of stat on the bottom once you get to the 4-5, 4 drop 5 meso completion. But do keep the future in mind a little bit. But like with the Kana treasure rings, I mean, if you have a 30% strength now, that's great. Technically, if you need another ring, you could even make another kind of treasure ring, right? Because you could just use one for damage, one for mobbing, because you can get more of them with Princess No.
Yeah.
So what? So me having said that, which items would you work on, and which set would you see yourself using as the drop set? So a few of them are already locked in, right?
Yeah. So I'm kind of using the Zakum face pieces and eye piece. I want to eventually get rid of the alien set because I just don't think it's gonna like be too good later on in the game. Or there'll be like better options. So I want to eventually. I didn't really invest too much into that. I kind of just left them at epic with a line of strength.
Yep, that's fine.
So right now I'm trying to get the event ring so I can switch out my noble Iframe ring.
Yeah.
And so I can still have the 3 set for the alien fragment with the ring. I'm trying to get that into a meso line. I'm not too sure where to go for what they to like get rid of the alien set. Like I'm not too sure what I should replace that with.
Yeah, so if you trying to go for like the complete set of like 9 pieces, then eventually the ring has to get dropped as well, right? Because that one cannot get potential. So that does mean that your set bonus is just gonna poof eventually anyway. And if the set bonus poofs, then you might as well get rid of all the pieces, because then individually they're not that great.
Yeah.
Like their base stats are like okay with the starforcing. It's decent, but the fact that they don't have flame advantage and they're level 180, so they're really expensive to roll into starforce.
Yeah, it's so expensive.
Yeah, it's just not great. So like for drop rate, so I would go for the greed pendant, and then for a do you have any dominators?
Yeah, I have 2 actually.
Okay.
But no, do I have 2? No, I have a Mechanator. Never mind.
Yeah, Mechanator. Yeah, you have 2 Mechanators.
No.
Yeah, so, but are you going for the Dominators? Are you doing normal arc every day?
Yeah, I'm doing them every day.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, that's one of those horrible time gatey things that the sooner you start and the more you do it, the better. Yeah. So yeah, so for drop rate for pendants, I would go for the greed pendant and go for one of the machinators. So I would invest into one, whichever one has the best flame, probably, right?
Yeah, I think it's that one that you're looking at. The
Yeah, 24 and 3 is
24
pretty good.
strength. And three,
Sadly,
yeah.
the 73 luck is a little
Yeah.
unfortunate, but it would have been
Yeah.
really nice if that was strength, but you know.
One dream.
Yeah, exactly. And then the Iron Face, you're just using the Zakum one, so that's fine. And the other one is already pretty close. The other ones are unique. And Earring you already have, so that's all set. And then we just need ring-wise, so we have the Flame Ring, and the Kana is now damage. So so what is available for you in the ring territory? Like the Noble Ephias would be able to go to drop rate, right?
Yeah. Do you think that would? I'm sorry. Would it be better to use an event ring or to just have that one and an event ring?
Well, you need 4,
thinking,
right? So you have the Eternal, and then which other rings did you have in mind? Which other 3 rings did you have in mind?
Because I still have the Alien Fragment one for the 3 set.
Yeah.
And then I would just keep the Eternal. I'd keep the Kana. So.
Right. But then you're so you don't need the drop rate to be able to get the meso bags, right? Because your meso drop rate is good enough. But the reason that you want extra drop rate and then you want to just fill out the slots to at least have one line of utility is because more nodes, more symbols, more droplets. And also like more twisted times, more spell traces, you know, like a little bit of everything, more income, and then later on also more familiar cards, right? All of that stuff helping you to progress through the game faster. So eventually you would cycle off of the Alien Fragment ring. So I think it's a good idea to like line up which 4 rings are you going to use. You're not balling out of control on the stones, and you've already used a lot on the node stones. So I'm thinking that you can't buy, like, how many event rings would you say realistically you can still buy?
I'm definitely able to get 1. After that, how many days of the event are left?
I believe the 24th.
It ends on the 29th, right?
The 24th? The shop ends on the 29th, but I think the 24th is the last day that you can get stones.
Okay, 24 times.
And the Sundays are tripled, so it's like 9 per week. And are you able to complete the journal usually?
Oh, then I think I should be able to get. If I cap every day, I should be able to get like 2 or 3. Yeah,
like 9,
okay.
900.
I guess I go for 2 rings, and then I swap out the Alien Fragment, the Noble Ring, get those legendary.
Yeah, you could go Noble, Eternal, and 2 event rings, and then that be your drop set. And then, you know, quote-unquote worst-case scenario, you roll a bunch of strength again. You roll, like, I don't know, some 24, some 27 or something. or 30, right? Then, I mean, that just means that you get another ring somewhere, and then that one becomes drop or meso. But I would prioritize that set. And, you know, the more 30% items you end up rolling, the more you're ready once the transition comes and the split comes. But I wouldn't hard focus on the split of like drop and meso stuff until you have your superior Gollux set completed and you switch completely out of the boss accessory pieces.
Okay.
So that would be after your Abso is completed, after most of your stuff is 17 stars, and you go like full 17 everything, full superior Gollux set. Then you're looking at basically Gollux plus Sweetwater to fill all the slots, and then probably event rings. And then once the Gollux ring starts coming in, at that point the rings are all kind of equal, right? Whether it's an event ring with stat, or it's like a superior or a reinforced or a Meister or a Kana treasure, they're all roughly equal around 17 stars. So it's just the potential of the ring there that determines what function the ring gets. It's only once you go above 17 that you want to prioritize, you know, the Starforce rings over the event rings when it comes to damage.
Gotcha. Okay.
But again, like I said, most of your damage, right, is coming from the hybrid stuff. It's going to come from the Abso, the CRA, the Starforce, on that stuff from your WSE, from your Arcane Power, from your Node Stones. That's where all the damage is coming from. And if you switch out between damage gear and mobbing gear, your kill speed in the map will never change. What's going to change is, of course, you know, once you're bossing in drop rate gear, you'll notice immediately, like, oh, hang on, I don't remember this boss fight being so long. I should probably forgot to switch something. But when you're mobbing, you're not losing kill potential, so you increase that utility with the drop rate set.
Okay. Sounds good.
So I think that's where your homework is, and like as soon as you start getting that meso obtain in, the next item is going to be able to be made faster and faster and faster, because you'll just see your income go up quite a bit. So I switched in my training, going from using no meso obtain to being able to use meso obtain, which was kind of tricky because of the sacred power now is really wonky. So I think my income went from so from 0% meso obtain to, or like 0 in equips to 100 in equips. Went from 370 an hour to now 630 an hour. So not quite doubled, but like really good, like plus 60% or something.
Yeah, that's a huge increase.
So that's like what you're looking at as an increase for mobbing as well, that compared to what you're making now to like get more than 50% extra. So the more of the items you get rolling, the faster you'll get to the point of the next piece. And then, you know, training is, yeah, you do pop a totem, and before you know it, you've got like 600, 700, 800 mil just sitting in your inventory.
Gotcha. Okay.
But of course, that goes together with the dailies.
Yeah.
Those are always going to be hanging over your head for
sure.
for quite a while.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, that's how the game is built up. They want you to come back every day and play a little bit every day. You can, I mean, from a game development point of view, it makes sense, but you know, as a player, it's not always what you want to do in that day.
For real, yeah. Like a little bit more freedom next time, please.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like a weekly cap or something. You can choose, like, do you do everything on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, or you know, do you stick like one day where you do like 4 hours of weeklies and then you're done for the whole week? You know, something like that. But yeah. I can totally understand
always
it.
make sense.
Yeah, no. Well, it makes sense from the game dev, but it can't always be like optimal for the player, right? It's sometimes they have to do it for themselves as well. And of course, it makes sense, and it's smart from their point of view to do it. Okay, yeah. So the other stuff, the other equips that we didn't mention, will just stay damage, and then we'll just be on pause for now, right? Won't be improved on. So Abso pieces is the other stuff that's then next. So we have 1+1 starforce event. It's not amazing to get things to 15, but it's a little bit better than off event. Depending on how you're doing with Abso, so like the ideal path, I guess, for moving into Abso would be trying to get level 150 pieces, and starforcing those without having to safeguard, so that you save a lot of money that way, and then transfer hammering them over into the Abso, so you don't have to risk booming or have to safeguard the Abso, because that's very expensive. It's kind of like the idea. So you want to start gathering backups. I saw you already had some at the bottom here. Yeah.
Yeah, I have 2 shoulders, 2 boots, a cape, and a glove from Hard Ranmaru. And then I have a few. I have a few. I have a Zakum cape and I have a Zakum belt.
I need to check your flame on your shoes and your gloves.
For the Ranmaru ones?
No, on your current equips. Because if it's because your gloves are already 17, right? So ideally, what you want to do is just maintain the value of your current stuff. Like, that's fine, and then transfer it up to 140, up to 150. And then up to 160, just like transfer it through. That way the epic potential goes through. That way the amount of stars barely goes down, and you maintain most of the value. Because even if you move into Abso and everything, if you have the royal gloves and shoes sitting in your inventory, that's just complete dead weight. All of that value will be going to waste. So if you switch over early, you do lose a little, like you lose, well, I don't know if the 2 set bonus makes any sense for these guys, but mainly losing a little bit of the base stats, right? Because the potential stays the same and everything. So you're losing the flame stats. So yeah, up to like 100 stat, 110, what you're losing, which is quite a bit. But the gloves are already fine, so you can transfer that whenever, right? You transfer it down to 16, 140, and then down to 15 stars at 150. And then, so I'll probably hold off until there's a 5, 10, 15 event. And transfer these down to, so through a 140 into a 150, then bump it 15 to 16. at 100%, then bump it into Abzo, bump it to 16 again, and then safeguard it to 17 for the last star to give yourself epic 17-star Abzo gloves. So basically all you'd need is just one glove and one 140 glove and one 150 glove. That would be enough.
Okay.
And then everything else you can get rid of. For the shoes, if you have Von Leon shoe backups, you could elect it just during like the 1+1, trying to get this one to 15 without safeguarding. And then if it does boom, you can transfer the trace and it's whatever. And if it doesn't boom, you kind of do the same thing as with the gloves now, except you do the 15 to 16 every time before the transfer. So you keep one 140 shoe, one 150 shoe, and then you go like 16, transfer, 16, transfer, 16, safeguard 17, basically.
Okay.
So that might mean getting some more Von Leon backup shoes, but at most like 1 or 2. So that shouldn't be an issue, I think, right?
Yeah, no, that's easy to do.
Okay, cool.
It's just one normal run.
Yeah, exactly. Cape-wise, you could do the enraged Succum capes if you have like 2 or 3 of those. You can use the event to safeguard them all the way up to 15 without. Sorry, not safeguarding. Starforcing without safeguarding is what I was trying to say. And then the only thing that's left is the shoulder, right?
Yeah.
Remember, for the shoulder, it doesn't necessarily have to be the same, or for any equip, right? For that matter, it doesn't have to be the same class. It can be a mage shoulder. That doesn't matter. Of course, though, if it booms, you want to have the same type of shoulder to make sure that you can transfer the trace over.
Okay.
So, if you have time and you're doing Rimuru regularly, just, check which shoulder you get the most of and then use that one. Doesn't have to be warrior, but, if you happen to save the warriors and you have like 4 or 5 of them, that should be more than enough. So, no need to like completely fill the inventory to the brim. I see you saving up a lot of Golok stuff, so I would keep solid stuff if it's epic, so you can transfer it into reinforced and then maybe into superior to transfer the epicness of it. But if it's not epic, you can get rid of all cracked stuff and all solid stuff in principle.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering about that because I don't want to drop it in case I needed it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if it's epic, you can basically use it like 100% EPOT scroll, right? So that helps it transfer over. But I guess that's the other chapter, right? So we just talked about like the Abzo prep, which that was all the pieces, right? Yeah. So the other prep, but that's a little bit longer term, would be the superior prep. So for the ring would be extra Kana treasure rings and maybe Meister, but you're doing Arc already, so that's already in the bag. For pendants, you're doing Arc already as well. That would be Dominator pendants, so that's already taken care of as well with that. For belts, it would be either the reinforced or the big bean belts, whichever ones you want to save up on. I would advise to just pick one of the types of belts and then just save like 4 or 8 or however high you want to go. I think you have like 4 for now. That's fine to do like the transfer into 17. And if you want to go, eventually want to go to 20 or 21, then you just, you start saving up ping bean belts again, and you can get those rather quickly. And then you just save up until you have like 8 or 9 or 10 or whatever, just to have a little bit of a buffer. And then you can go harder at that point, but there's no need to like, keep 20 of them in your inventory or something. So to not pile on. And then the only other thing is the earrings. So for the earrings, advise to keep the reinforced earrings that you get from Hardlux or Helix over the long term. Earrings can of course get backups itself in superior. Hopefully you could be so lucky. But reinforced earrings would definitely be a drop that I would hold on to transfer over. There are some other level 140 earrings, but those are all very tedious to get. So focus on the reinforced.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's like the long term, like what items do you look out for? The other stuff, of course, is like the narrows, right, for commercy and stuff. You slowly build up on that whenever you feel like it, to make sure that you have somewhat of a bank to rely on if you ever go 17 and beyond. If you get a lot of the narrows, that means you don't really have to safeguard. You can save some money that way, and then having the narrows is like saving money on your way there. If you don't have the narrows, then you just safeguard up to 17, but then, you'll be forced to start building up the narrows eventually if you want to go past 17. But that's probably once you're past, like, transposing a Dominator into a Sweetwater Pendant, past switching into the full Superior set, past getting everything to 17 stars and to Legendary with 2 lines, like, past that point, and you're really starting to push the Starforce past that point. First, you're going to be pushing on the CRA, right, because you have so many backups. And then after that, you know, probably whichever accessory you have many of. If you already have like 6 kind of treasure rings or something, you got lucky with that. Well, then you do the rings first, something like that. But then, you know, the Commercy Dineros and stuff start coming into play as well at that point. So that's when you want to make sure that you have like 1, 2, 3,000. 2 or 3,000 is probably like a good amount to have like a bunch of backups. Because the pendants are not cheap, and if you start blowing up pendants, it can go down real quick.
Yeah.
And it's typically the items with the lower backups that start booming, and then your CRA will boom like once or twice, and you're good. And then you'll blow up like 6 Dominators on the way to 15, and it's like, okay, well, thank you, game.
And who gets 6 Dominators? I thought they were like super rare. Holy smokes.
Yeah, well, they are quite rare, but once you start building up more drop rate and everything, and you do normal arc every day, you do want to build up a back, because you have to get a really good one to transpose, so that one is gone.
Yeah.
Then you want to get a really good one, maybe eventually as drop rate, you know, depending on how quickly you get it. And then you want to get some to high Star Force, and you're going to blow up a bunch of those to transfer into the high Star Force Superior later on, if you want to go like 21 to 20 or 22 to 21. So in total, your account will probably need like 7, 8 Dominators to be like endgame ready. And you will get those eventually, but it might take a bit.
I'm gonna
start. Oh yeah, and even further, if you get a Source of Suffering and you want to do like high Star Force Dominator into Superior, back up, and then back into the Source of Suffering, something like that. Yeah. So for like for endgame stuff. Okay, any equips that you feel we completely skipped, or where the progression of where to go is completely unclear? So in general, when it comes to like, because this is a typical question, I'm not saying that you're super average, but this is typically what still lingers for people after all of this explanation, is like, when do you Star Force and when do you work on potential, right? So like the WSE is pretty good. Drop rate meso set, that's like priority now. Then the Star Forcing that we talked about, prep for the Abso. So that's why you're looking for the Star Force events. Prepping for the Superior is not necessary yet, because you're very far away from that. So you can easily wait until you have a little bit more backups, until there's an actual 30% off. Most likely there'll be a 5, 10, 15 in between. That'll be a good event to start prepping and moving into the Abso. Once you have the Abso, if there's no cubing event, then work on the potential on the Abso, of course. If there is an event, then do it during the event. Definitely let the events inform your decision. For Star Forcing, I would typically pretty much always wait for an event. For cubing, if there has been an event even remotely recently, then just go for it. The sales are typically not that insane, and they're few and far between. So that you can hold off forever, but then you're actually losing potential by not spending your money and getting stronger. So,
gotcha.
Okay, any remaining questions about Arc, about bossing, about equips, about the game?
Just one about equips. So I have the fake Absol weapon.
Yep.
Would you recommend me getting a real Absol weapon before I get like any of the Absol pieces, or should I just wait until I get an Arcane weapon?
I would get the Abso pieces to go to full set, and in the back of my mind would be the next weapon after this is an Arcane weapon.
Okay.
Because of how good because of this is already 17 stars, it's already got a really good flame. You would have to spend a lot of money getting it to legendary and getting better lines. Keep in mind though the critical rate that you're losing there, and the event critical rate. You know, always keep that in mind with the division of your hyperstats and your Legion board and all of that.
Right.
And because of Arc being so good with the high base, higher, because none of our base attack of our weapons is high, but higher weapon base attack, and that's our scaling off of that, then you want to get to the Arcane weapon ASAP. And with the current access that we have to droplets and everything, and the KMS changes that were announced, or at least in Tespia, they announced that they are going to make droplets, at least in Reboot, permanently purchasable from shops. So Arcane is going to be way more achievable, and that is definitely the long-term plan for the weapon, I would say.
Okay, cool. So wait for Arcane. Sounds good.
Yep. Okay, anything else?
How important is an Android and a heart? Because I don't have either.
Yeah. So they were one of the cheaper items to upgrade, so that makes it nice. At this point, you still have so much stuff to work on that it's not a high priority at this moment. but it will become something that you can get very easy damage out of before I imagine Wondroid coming back, if it even does. So if near the end of this event you do have the money, I would buy the Feria Heart.
Okay.
Because, yeah, I don't know, last time there was supposed to be Feria Heart in the shop, there were some technical difficulties, quote-unquote, and it didn't go through. So I don't know how guaranteed it is that something like that will be available again, and Wondroid is only like a offset item. Sometimes it comes around with a year in between, sometimes there's 2 years in between. You'll probably be able to, you'll be able to use it and upgrade it before I can see that event coming back. So I would probably buy it from the event shop before the end.
Okay.
And per extension for the event, so I probably wouldn't buy the droplets for Meso, but I would buy the one for Course if you can.
You said the droplets for Course? Okay.
Yeah, because the other items for Neo Cores are not super valuable anyway, so I would focus on buying the droplets there, and then just droplets from training and from leveling and all of that. And then by the time you have enough drops from Lucid to be able to make a weapon, we should be looking at enough droplets in your account to be able to buy it immediately because of the droplet exchange, so...
Okay.
You should be fine without having to buy many for Mesos right now.
Gotcha. How many droplets do I need for the weapon?
200
I'm not sure how that system works.
216.
Is that of both of them or one individually?
One individually. So you have so you take one boss droplet, and that you combine that one with 9 area droplets, and that makes 1 coin. And then you can buy the items from the shop with the coins, and the regular items are 12 each, and the weapons are 24 each. And in that sense, it's pretty similar to Lotus&Damien, where you like area boss drop, area drop combined into area coin to buy items from the area shop. But, so the added benefit is like, if you imagine it to compare it to Lotus&Damien, is that you could exchange the weekly rewards for Lotus&Damien. You could exchange one for the other, basically. That's how you want to see it. Yeah.
Okay.
So you can throw them into one big pile. So that also stops you from feeling like you can't go to the next area because then you get the wrong type of droplets and you won't be able to get your gear, right? They alleviated that for Reboot by giving us the exchange guy instead.
Okay. Cool.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right. Any last words? Any shout outs?
Shout out my moms. Thanks for birthing me.
All right. Thanks, dudes, moms. You the real homie. Yeah. Shout out to moms everywhere. They're pretty cool.
Yo, for real. Pretty tight.
All right. Well, good. Then I wish you the best of luck.
Cool. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for seeing me today.
No problem. Yeah. It was good that you came back in time to that we could make it work. Get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because having to reschedule and then later in it's a whole bunch of shenanigans. So yeah, I'd just rather have it done now. So yeah, I gotta go run to my boss party, and I wish you the best of luck, and I'll see you around.
Sounds good.
All right,
I'll be around. Good luck on your drops.
Yeah. Thank you, man. All right, see ya.
Yeah, no problem.
Bye. All right, cool. Yeah, so we were able to go through everything. We had a little bit of a scheduling. Well, the scheduling snafu not, but the alarm not going off and him waking up a little bit later. But we made it happen. We made it work. Yeah. So yeah, Legion is slowly going. Didn't emphasize Legion as much, but I felt like he is aware of where to find all the resources and all the numbers. I think we expressed all of the questions that he had and addressed them appropriately. So I'm feeling pretty confident. I mean, he's an ARC too, so it's gonna be dope no matter what, you know. I didn't have to bust out a whole bunch of links and a whole bunch of stuff, so that's always a good sign. That means that there is like that baseline understanding of how all this stuff works. And of course, with Arc, you don't have to worry as much about stuff like IED, boss damage, and critical rate and all of that. Critical damage is nice to work on because all the other stuff is pretty much already taken care of. If you're working on Legion and Links, and if you're working on your, if you're just leveling and with your kit, a lot of that stuff is already taken care of. So if you thought this was interesting, then I'm glad. That was kind of the goal. If you feel it was entertaining, then that's a nice added bonus. If you want one of these sessions, or you have data for me that helps provide the community with better information, or you would like to join the EU or NA Scardor Guild, check the description of the video, and you'll find links there with additional information so that you can find and do those things. Oh, small point. Yesterday, one of the videos uploaded twice again, so I had to delete one of the videos. For some reason, when I upload 2 videos close together, somehow it messes up with YouTube upload sometimes. So if you find that your comments were gone or one of the videos is gone, then that's what happened there. So I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you for watching, and peace and love. Bye, YouTube.